So, among other things, people like Latin words. So I call it implicit intricacy. I recommend you the term. I don't care what you call it, not at all. But implicit intricacy satisfies certain people who have to have Latin terms. I had somebody who has studied my stuff for 20, 30 years, I don't know how long it is, wrote me back and said, I can't teach your stuff to my classes because people want arcane concepts. So I said, all right, I can make arcane concepts. So I'm giving you an arcane concept. It's called implicit intricacy. Implicit means that it's not the same as whatever you say or think. It's implicit. And intricacy means that it's going to be more complex than the vocabulary lets you say in ordinary terms. And the second point is important. If you look for ordinary words to say something that you are or feel, you're not going to communicate. That's what's wrong with the 6 steps too. And this is very hard somehow for people to grasp, and I don't know why. So I talk regularly for a long time to one of the people that's close to me, and every time she says, oh, well, let's call it cooperation. And I say, well, but it means, 2 different people who bring whatever. So then we talk for a while, and then she decides she wants to call it coordination. And every time she wants to call it something, I sink. Because I was trying to tell her, and now I know that this is a wrong thing to try to tell the way I was doing it. I was telling her what cooperation means, then I would tell her what coordination means. If you take any ordinary word and go look it up in a dictionary, it's not going to say the thing you're trying to say. So be willing to create a new sentence with a metaphor in it, or make a new phrase, say invisible coordination, then already somebody says, what do you mean? And that's what you want. You want them to open to something different. So if you use ordinary words, they're always going to say, yes, yes, that's right. Or maybe they'll disagree with it, but they'll think they know what you mean. Now, of course, I'm using ordinary words, so I look at mean, and mean doesn't mean what I want it to mean, and so on, right? But I want to point to this fact that language is capable of saying what you mean, but not in the ordinary words. You have to combine them some funny way. So we only have the words in the language. You can't make up new words. But we can combine them. So allow yourself to make a metaphorical sentence, and another one, and another one. And that's what we do in TAE. TAE can, I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but TAE, in short, is saying to yourself or whoever, somebody else, saying, that word, cooperation or whatever, what did you want that word to mean? And nicely, not like define your terms, for that's not that, but what did you want this word to mean? If this word could mean just what you want, what would it mean? Cooperation. What did you want cooperation? Well, I will talk about that mysterious way that these 2 people are dancing together, and neither of us knows in advance what the next step is going to be, but it doesn't depend only on them, it depends only, and all this poetry comes out. From there we can make new concepts. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so the philosophical part of this in Latin is implicit intricacy. Of course, those words are no good either, because implicit means folded under, but already there. That's not what I mean by implicit. By implicit, I mean a forward movement that hasn't come yet. That you feel it, but it hasn't gone to completion yet. So implicit is a terrible word. Intricacy is just as bad. It means that you start out with a bunch of strings and then you get them all embroiled with each other. So I won't defend what I'm calling it, but it'll work if you know what I mean to begin with. And mean, of course, has the same problem, because mean usually means that what you mean is already there. So we need the kind of concept which is both clear as far as it goes, and then opens. So I wrote a thing like that with a new kind of concept, which is never just the concept, it's always the concept. So I called that implying. Of course, if you look up implying, you will see that implying implies that whatever is implied is already there. You may not have found it yet, but 271 times 63 is already there. It's just that it take you 5 minutes to figure it out. But implying is not like that. Implying goes out into the open, and it implies, it wants, it demands, it urges, and yet it isn't complete yet. And when it completes, it'll imply something further. All right, that's the philosophy.